Only a 12th level intellect has the slightest hope of surviving what you are about to experience.
I was thinking about how, I don't know, thank you. That's helping me sync it up later by doing that. Thank you. Are you clapping for yourself? Like, welcome
I've
to
got the
12th
clap.
level intellects. I'm so happy to be here. Don't say you've got the clap on the air.
I didn't say that. You said that. You said that just now.
Did we talk about how the guy that's in Guardians of the Galaxy? That's
Which
like,
guy? There's a
the
few
one
of
that
them.
the one
Bradley
that says,
Cooper. Bradley Cooper.
The one, no,
Okay.
he's the one that says who when Star-Lord's like, I'm Star-Lord, dude.
Oh,
That guy.
yeah. What about that guy?
His name looks like it's pronounced Digimon, but I don't think that's probably how it's actually pronounced.
No, it's probably not. Probably not.
Jimon and Pumbaa. Anyway, he's
That's not
in
racist.
both. He's in both. What?
What?
I didn't.
It's not.
It wasn't
Good. All
until
right,
you
so what's
said
he in?
it
What's he
wasn't.
in?
He's
What's
in
he in?
both Captain Marvel movies.
Oh, that's the same character?
AKA Shazam. No, AKA he's in Captain Marvel and he's in Shazam. He's not the same character, you dolt.
As the Who? Are
he
you?
Plays he plays Shazam in Shazam. You know, the wizard, the old one.
Oh, cool.
And
cool.
he also plays, the same Guardians of the Galaxy character that he played in Captain Marvel.
That's what I
Captain
was
Marvel.
asking, if he was the same character.
Well, no, not in the same. Okay. Yes.
That's cool, though. That's great that he's there.
And I was looking this up too. He's also apparently playing like Fishman in Aquaman. So he's in Shazam
Nice.
and Aquaman, and then he also for the character of the wizard Shazam, he replaced oh my gosh, I was just looking at this. Where is it? This doesn't matter. He replaced the guy who was gonna play the wizard was in the Luke Cage TV show as like old man that sits in barbershop guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Anyway, that was just a weird little thing. Welcome back to another episode of 12th Level Intellects, everyone. I'm
Here
James
we
Checker.
are.
This is Ted Kendrick, and
That's me.
We're gonna talk about stuff today. We didn't have like we usually have a movie just came out or like a comic cool thing just happened or something, but this week there wasn't anything like immediately on our minds, and so we put out a YouTube post of like, hey, what do you want to hear us talk about? Could have been
We got
DCAU.
some good answers.
Yeah. Could have been DCAU, could have been DC, could have been anything like geeky or superhero-y. And as of the time of me looking at this, there are 70 comments, which is pretty cool because usually when we put something out like this, we get like 10 or 12 people like, I want you to talk about Batman. And I'm like, oh, we do that every day.
That means you're more popular.
Yeah.
We might be 13th level intellects real soon.
Wow. Can you even do that? Is that a thing?
That should be our special Halloween episode.
Oh, spooky. Friday the 13th level intellects. And a bunch of people just tuned out.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I want to, never mind. I was going to bring up the whole talking too quiet thing, but I don't care anymore. I don't care.
We'll
Listen to
export
what
it
you
another
want to
level.
listen to. So, yeah, news things, though. There's Captain Marvel, speaking of which. There's a bunch of new pictures. Did you look at those?
I saw the cover of Entertainment Magazine, but I didn't see any of the ones that were inside.
You should. I'm going to send you a link to it while we're talking so that you can look at them with me.
So I can look at it. That'd be
It's
great.
Facebook, and then Ted Kendrick, and I said, and then paste, and there. It's ding.
Yep, you heard
Wow,
it.
would you turn that off?
Well, someone
We're
should be
recording.
sending notifications during podcasts.
Someone.
Oh, these are
That's
cool
me.
pictures. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Huh?
Yeah, there's some pictures there.
That
there's
picture's
one-
cool. This picture's
there's
cool.
she's in the
our
full
audience
costume.
our audience loves to hear us talk about pictures that they can't see. Is that Jude Law?
I don't know. Probably.
That's Jude Law. He plays the commander of Star Force, whatever that is. Oh, there's some cool,
there's her in
cool
the
looking scrolls. The
in the
scrolls look
costumes.
really cool.
Yeah, you get to see the scrolls. That's pretty cool. There's a good old Ben Mendelsohn standing in a like storefront or something, who I think is one of the scrolls. I think he's like the scroll leader. I don't know what the character.
Lot of Ronin from Guardians of the Galaxy,
which is cool.
played by Lee Pace.
Do we know who Jude Law is playing? I'm sure we collectively, the human race, do, but I don't know.
He's the commander of Starheart, is what it said.
But he's not because I barely understand the Captain Marvel lore in Marvel. But wasn't there like a man Captain Marvel first, and then Lady Captain Marvel? So is Jude Law man Captain Marvel?
No, I don't think totally. But I could be wrong. I don't know much about him either, so I'm not the one to say yes or no.
And there's the thing I liked the most was this screenshot of Nick Fury looking
with the island,
very younger. Yeah. That's pretty cool because it stands out in this. Most of these are like set photos, and then suddenly there's just a screenshot from the movie.
Right.
And like it's almost it makes I think I'm looking at like a Pulp Fiction screenshot or something.
Yeah,
like,
he looks very young.
Way. Yeah.
But Marvel's done that before. Like they had the scene at the beginning of Civil War with Robert Downey Jr. as a teenager.
And just a still shot, it looks really good. So I'm hoping it.
This
tracks
looks more
well
makeup than potentially CGI. I think for Nick
I'm sure
Fury
they like plumpify his face, if that makes sense.
Sure, sure.
We all get a little rounder.
I like Captain Marvel's costume, like the one that's there on the cover. It's the classic red and blue. Like she looks like Captain Marvel straight out of the comics.
Yeah, the actual like picture of her on like a beach or something in that costume, like the first one. I think I like that better than the magazine cover. The magazine cover is a little too like glammed up or something.
Sure.
But also, she's on. So she's standing there. Is she standing among all the dead Avengers? It's a joke because there's sand everywhere.
There's sand. It looks like Wakanda. Maybe not, though.
I like the. I thought it was like a beach. Also, it could be still, but like you don't see any like ripples.
Well, yeah,
it could just be like a weird shiny.
The scrolls are definitely coming out of the water on the beach there.
Yeah. There's like one of them all walking toward Ronan.
Yeah.
In their Green Lantern Corps outfits and
right. Which it looks like Jude Law is standing with Ronan, so maybe.
Yeah.
And that is the same the Who guy in the Guardians of the Galaxy standing with Carol Danvers and the rest of that Starheart crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look it looks pretty good. I like it. Hooray.
So far,
There's Ben Mendelsohn is I think the scroll leader. He was in the Star Wars, the Rogue One. He's in a bunch of stuff. But cool.
Nice.
What about you, bro? You got news or something?
Well, I was going to talk about Captain Marvel, but I can also say that the DC streaming app is coming really, really soon, September 15th, which is Batman Day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's launching super soon.
Do we have a thing planned for Batman Day? Who knows, James?
We might just. We might.
I don't say it because I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's happening. I've already pre-ordered it, so I'm going to be watching it that day. I'll be able to tell our listeners what it's like on the next episode, probably.
Oh, good. I have not pre-ordered that because I still don't know if I'm going to at all.
I'll let you know if it's worth it. I got like 15 months for $80. Like I thought that was a pretty good deal. So I'll have it for a year and 3 months already. Just straight up front.
Well, you get all the Aquaman ticket gift thing or whatever.
I didn't win it, or I don't know if I won it.
Oh,
I probably didn't.
The potential.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish in the ocean.
And there, and there's what else was the thing? There was some other thing that they were kept pushing. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of like the Justice League action figures. Like you can only get those through this. There's something else though. Recently, I feel like that it was like, hey, if you get this, you can like see the thing before anyone else. I don't remember. They're really trying to get people to get on there.
The animated Batman, like Batman the Animated Series in Blu-ray HD.
Yeah, I guess you can see it there before you can buy it or whatever. Which I bought the other day. I bit the bullet. It dropped to like $82 or something, $87.
Nice.
The Blu-ray set, so I got that. And I was gonna. That was my only other thing. It's not really news, but it's like the back of the. I was talking to Mark, the guy working on our website and Legacies and everything. I was talking to him about the back of the Blu-ray case for this. Just reads like it's written like me in like 6th grade making a Batman fan site or something.
Oh,
like I do since then also. But like I don't know. So just
so you think it's just somebody at Warner Archives who just like
it was like
copy?
Like they forgot to write something, so they just said like. Guy that's like photoshopping this together, can you just write something? I don't care. You know what Batman is. Like, I guess, so I'm going to read it, and I want you to imagine that it's a middle school kid.
Are you going to read it like a middle school kid?
No.
Well, I think you should.
I think you
should to help with our imagination.
What?
This is an audio show.
Okay. When the 2 shots rang out, Bruce Wayne's life changed forever. He pledged himself to justice, and he held that oath for years. Wearing many names, the Dark Knight, the world's greatest detective, the Caped Crusader, and Gotham's greatest hero, he battled tragic foes like Joker, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, and so many more. But deep inside, he knew that he shared something with them that most of humanity would not understand, a commitment to the fight. The critically acclaimed Emmy-winning TV series redefined this complex man as an edgy hero, struggling for revenge and redemption each time he donned the cape and cowl. This comprehensive collection has been remastered in stunning high definition and contains every episode with all the allies, criminals, and shadows in Batman's history.
Wow.
So first off, when has he ever been called Gotham's greatest hero? As like a slogan.
And then redefined as a hero. But I love your middle school voice. Good job.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I was trying to be in front of a class. You should use
that all the time.
Yeah. I wet my pants during that. I hope that's okay.
You sounded a little more like a 4th level intellect, but
yeah, thank you. A 4th grader intellect. And also all the allies, criminals, and shadows in Batman's history. Are those the 3 categories?
Yes, so it's all the allies, criminals, and then multiply them by 2 because they all have a shadow, except for Shadow Thief, who is a shadow.
And Lloyd Ventrix.
Yes, he's also he does not. Well, he's just a shadow and not a person.
He doesn't cast a shadow.
He doesn't. Are you sure? Are you sure
I
he doesn't
don't know.
cast a shadow?
Probably not. Not when
yeah,
he's
you're
invisible.
right. Probably not. I don't know, man. That might give him away. You're right.
I like how he just like this doesn't read as someone that knows the animated series specifically, just someone that knows Batman. Like this, like as if the core, like if you're gonna take anything away from Batman the Animated Series, it's that he knew he shared something with his enemies that most of humanity wouldn't understand.
They like to
commitment
fight.
to the fight. Yeah, like what are you talking about? I don't know. It's just like it's nitpicky, I guess, but like just copy something that already exists. I wouldn't care. You don't have to write a new thing. And it's like in stunning high definition. Like that's something you would. That just makes me think of those like. If you watch like a movie from like the late 90s on like VHS and they have like DVD, check it out, it's high definition with surround sounds. Like I'm not getting this experience.
I'm hearing that like THX sound noise in my head.
And just like Neo dodging bullets and stuff. Yeah.
That's great.
So anyway, that's news, I guess.
That
The
is-
news is the back of this box kind of sucks.
That is the news. I don't really have any more news besides like I was looking at DC's like previews for September, and it seems like there's some interesting books coming out. I'm really excited for Grant Morrison's Green Lantern that he's doing. He's doing a Hal Jordan book called The Green Lantern. And
I went to go buy comics.
Yeah.
You saw I bought the Batman Beyond 2.0 volumes, or I told you about it.
Oh, nice.
At when I went there I was at Barnes & Noble just looking for stuff. They had like a whole row of just Grant Morrison.
Nice.
Which was cool. I'd have never seen them like separate an author or whatever for the
Oh,
comic
yeah.
section. So
He's done
that
a
was-
lot.
I don't know. That just reminded me of that. Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. But it seems
Yeah.
like the Green Lantern book's gonna tie into multiversity a little bit. Like it's some multiverse shattering, as it always is, multiverse shattering event. But the Green Lantern, I think, will be a great like character to explore that with because he's so cosmic already.
Before we get into a bunch of these questions, I want to ask ahead of time, did you read anything that you could talk about for comic relief? Because I
did.
Definitely did not. Okay.
Oh, okay. I've got
So-
two things I can talk about.
Okay,
so.
yeah, I took both last time and it ended up being like twice as long because then you said two. So
Yes,
this
I said
time we
two.
can shorten it. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
all right. So this is all from the YouTube post,
Actually-
and I apologize to anyone listening that may have sent one of these, but we won't mention it because some of them we're going to probably turn into full videos.
Because there were some good
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah. So if you don't hear yours read, there is the possibility that we're purposely skipping it for that reason. Anyway,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
pull it up too,
You
just
want-
because I kind of want to scroll.
Oh, you want to
through with
follow
ya.
along?
Yeah,
I'm-
follow along. Follow
I
the
sorted
bouncing
by
ball.
oldest first.
Okay, well, that seems fair.
We could just go through. Like I could pick one, you could pick one. That way.
I'm down. I'll follow your lead. I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. So let's go with the first one. This is from Not Zeb. So don't get that. Don't think that at all that it's Zeb because
It's not Zeb. Oh, okay, good. I thought it was for a second.
I know, me too, but then he told me it wasn't. So I don't know.
Okay, good.
He says, how many flashes are there in the DCAU? We see reference to the other flashes in the Flash Museum, but I know you guys love to analyze those references and try to make them it. Sorry if you've already done this topic. I think
We
he means
haven't.
Fit.
Well, I mean, we've kind of glanced on it. We talked about Kid Flash in the Titans video a little bit because you see Kid Flash's costume in the museum. You see Jay Garrick's helmet. But I would say personally, there are 3 Flashes in the DCAU.
Okay, explain.
Yeah, but my DCAU. So I am thinking about how Wally West is obviously the Flash from Superman and from Justice League. And then
Correct.
we do see Jay Garrick's helmet, and we see Jay Garrick appear in the JLU tie-in comic, which is questionably canon. We'll do a canon thing on
you had
that.
to quickly say that because I'm
I
sitting here.
did, yeah, because you're
Oh,
gonna
James,
just
I
shut
know.
me down.
Yeah.
Jay Garrick doesn't count. He counts in my book. I'm counting him.
Sure.
There's enough little evidence that I'm like, I could give it
I
to
mean,
him.
that's a pretty, like, why else would his helmet be there kind of a thing? Like,
Yeah.
if not for the fact that he existed at some point.
And then I'm also my third Flash is going to be Danica Williams from the 2.0 stuff because
okay.
she's future Earth 12, which is the DCAU as far as like the mainstream comics goes, like multiversity and everything. There's the multiversity guidebook that came out that cataloged all the Earths, almost all of them. And Earth 12, instead of showing like the mainstream DCAU, it was the future one, like the Batman Beyond GLU. And Danica Williams was there with everyone. And I'm like, okay, Earth 12 isn't exactly the DCAU, but for my intents and purposes, I'm going to include her in my 3. So
I think,
and maybe Impulse, but that's questionable.
well, and maybe this is worth a full video because it would be worth like analyzing, you know, all the possible reasons there could be a Kid Flash costume in the museum or, you know, that kind of thing. Because it's all very like up until that Justice League Unlimited episode at the Flash Museum. There's just like an established. There's Wally West. Period. Like that's it. And then
we see him get struck by lightning in the lab the same way Barry Allen did.
Yeah. And like even though he's facing away from the camera when we see that, so like it's possible he could be like a teenager or something. Like they still use that same kind of body type for like Nightwing or something, or like Dick Grayson or whatever. And
like we have the precedence for like Wally West having Barry's origin, Kyle Rayner has Hal's origin. It's just like Wally and Kyle happen to be those the mainstream versions of those characters at the time. So it made sense. Yeah. Yeah,
and you couldn't do their normal origin without the original
legacy aspect.
Not original. Yeah. So you would have to just give them the one that you know better or whatever. But what was I going? Oh, the teen, like, so he could have maybe like I don't know. I wish there was more like explanation, I guess, for like half that stuff in the museum is just thrown in because like Easter egg or whatever, but we
never had a Flash the animated series, so we don't know where it came from.
Everything else that's in there makes sense. Like it's just those two couple things. Like what
about the Reverse Flash? Do you think Reverse Flash exists in the DCAU? We like don't see any hint of him except for the Justice League Adventures, right?
There's that Justice Lord's like Brainiac thing, but that's obviously not the same thing. I feel like maybe if they ever brought the DCAU back and they wanted to put him in there, they would just do it. And we would have to accept just like a Hawkman Power Girl thing that like, the one that they did a different way and the real one exists, I guess, because I hate that, but
Well, that's how it goes.
Let's go on from this. The answer is maybe 3. Let's see. Maybe. Who would win in a fight, Flash or Batman Beyond? This is from Frank Films. So clearly he's referring to the TV show Flash and the TV show Batman Beyond.
So it's a TV show fight.
There's no character named Batman Beyond.
Interesting.
Anyway, no. Are we talking modern day Flash, like Wally West Flash?
I think so. But let's just say, for intents and purposes, Danica Williams Flash from Batman Beyond 2.0.
I don't know her like, well enough, though.
Let's just say that she and Wally have the same powers. And just treat it like the same answer.
So then why would you change it to...
So it doesn't matter which Flash it is.
Okay.
But they're still up against Batman Beyond.
Well, this is an impossible task.
I think the Flash... Because he's fast, he can just punch the shit out of Batman Beyond before he even sees it coming. Even if Terry were to go invisible, I think the Flash could still probably like bend the light or like something to like see, because he could go faster than the speed of light, so you can probably see Batman Beyond despite being invisible.
I'm gonna say I have 3 possibilities in my head. One is if it's Danica Patrick
Williams.
It was Danica Patrick from NASCAR as the Flash, and GoDaddy.com. If it's Future Flash fighting Batman, and they're like that, she would probably win, because of all the reasons you said. If it's Wally West versus Terry and like there's no warning, he just runs up out of nowhere, like comes out of a time portal or something and just starts beating the shit out of him, I'd say he still wins. I think if Terry somehow knew the Flash was coming and could prepare or whatever, but I don't think that I was going to say I think Terry would win that version, but not because of himself. I think he would win because of a similar like Spellbinder kind of situation where Bruce would just be like looking through Terry's eyes and be like, do this, do that, because he's like fought alongside Flash for so long.
Yeah, he would just knows how to take him down.
Put a banana peel there and stuff like that. So.
Although, like Batman, the button, the crossover between Batman and the Flash that came out before Doomsday Clock, like Reverse Flash just shows up at the Batcave all of a sudden out of a portal, just beats the crap out of Batman for like full issue. So, you know. It happens.
Yeah, for using that as evidence. Well, but like if Bruce could prepare and put something in the bat suit that's like that Thanagarian like gravity
he could not have prepared
gun or
for
something, then yeah. That's all the ever Batman versus anybody arguments are. Like, well, clearly that person would kill Batman unless Batman could prep. Yeah. Clearly any human would kill any non-human would kill Batman unless he knew it was happening.
I think Batman's just got to be in like I think he'd need to be in the center of a maze, you know, and have like all these booby traps leading up to the center. So
you were saying something about booby traps before your computer turned off.
Yeah, I mean, it's back. My scenario for Batman beating the Flash is if he's like in this labyrinth and he gets to the center of it and he's like just in a room, so there's no way the Flash can jump in the air or launch himself or anything. Like lots of twists and turns to get to this place, and then like the whole room is just like slicked like with oil or something, so he just can't get to him without like sliding and slipping. And so the Flash wipes out, and then Batman's able to get him from there. That's my scenario.
So, if the Flash's feet were nailed to the floor, then Batman could beat him.
Yeah. He'd have to slip first, then hit him on the head with something. I don't
know. Okay, let's see more things. Marco Lat Hernandez Martinez. That's quite the name.
That's a great name.
It's long. Have you talked about the transition from JL to JLU via the Crisis on Two Earths movie? I heard it was originally meant to be a bridge between Starcross and JLU. Other than Green Lantern and Aquaman not being the right versions, that movie is canon in my head, in my mind.
Yeah. I agree with that. There's definitely aspects of it that you can look at that movie and be like, there's like, DNA from the DCAU that's left over in it. I guess it was written by Dwayne McDuffie. Originally, it was going to be called Justice League Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was always going to feature the Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, that's always been the interesting part to me is like, if it had been a DCAU movie, like they just had a whole giant like season or two arc of like just the Justice Lords will cause you to be you might become the Justice Lords. Like that's such a huge thing. But then apparently there was also the Crime Syndicate between Justice League and Justice League Unlimited that like never gets brought up in that same conversation. So
yeah, you would think that they would have been. But it's like the Crime Syndicate's always like it's not the Justice League gone evil. It is an evil world where they are the villains, you know?
Right.
So it's it's very different, but still you would think.
And I mean, I guess they also don't bring up that like Brave New Metropolis kind of world or anything like that. Like Dr. Hamilton should definitely know about that. So
yeah, you would think so.
But I mean, technically it's not canon, but there is a lot. Like it's basically it might as well be like if they got like the origin of the invisible jets in there. They're working on the teleporters for the new Watchtower. They're talking about like, oh, we're gonna get a bunch of new members. Here's some of them and stuff like that.
It's basically the entire voice cast from the series, except with Nathan Fillion as Hal Jordan.
No, that's Justice League Doom.
Oh, it's Justice League Doom. What am I thinking?
Well, I mean, they're on almost the same art style and like it's almost a continuation. Of Crisis on Two Earths. So. But yeah,
whoops, my bad.
We'll be doing a Will It canon on those at some point probably.
Nice.
Yeah. Aquaman is fine though. He's just in his wrong costume, but costumes don't matter apparently. So
apparently, but it's also the end of that movie is like a bunch of new leaguers join, so it does kind of show the transition from those 6 into the expanded league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Martin Caceres says, I would like to hear your opinion about Booster Gold not being included in more chapters as an active character before The Greatest Story Never Told. After that, he only did cameos. I think that's fine, because a lot of those Justice Leaguers never got even what he got.
I would have loved to see more time travel stuff with him. That would have been fun.
Maybe he's referring to how like Green Arrow and Black Canary are introduced in a similar like status, and then they keep being at that status, whereas Booster Gold just goes back to being a background random guy.
Right. It would have been at least cool to see like the Justice League International sort of lineup interact more together.
I think at least that episode of him being prominent makes all of his minor appearances more like resonance, if that's the right word. Like, I don't know. Even when he's just in like a Flashpoint, I think it is, where they go down to help all the people in their exploded buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And Booster Gold like lands on a windowsill and like reaches out and helps somebody. Like, even just that little moment, even though he doesn't say anything or do it, it's like, oh, hi, hey, it's you. I know you. It's Green Lantern.
It's Green Lantern. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, they could have thrown in the little girl going like, oh, thanks, Green Lantern or something. But...
Do you think that that episode, The Greatest Story Never Told, would have been a lot different if they had gone with Firestorm, like originally intended?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it succeeds with Booster, rather.
I think so, too. Well, we've talked... before about how like Justice League Action, a lot of the comedic characters have like the same personality. They're this like the same jokey
That's
character.
Right. Firestorm's a good example of that in that show. Yeah. That's probably the way they would have treated him in that episode.
They might have been able to just swap him out like without changing much. I mean, they would have had to change Skeets, but Skeets could have been freaking
the Professor.
Yeah, that's actually
Stein.
really funny to think about. Like, I wonder if they. Like, oh, well, what other character can we put in there instead that has, like, a voice talking
floating
to him?
Yeah. Yeah, except, like, I'm sure they probably had more original jokes in that original draft that was, like, hit Firestorm talking to himself and people not realizing that he was talking to a voice in his head, and he just looks crazy.
I do think it works well with Booster, though, being that he's trying to be, like, famous and stuff, and he's trying to, like, you know... I'm just as much of a good superhero as anybody else, and then he has to like prove that or whatever, which they could have done with Firestorm too, but it's not as much of a like, I don't know, he came back from the future for that exact reason, not
right.
He didn't like Firestorm, just like, you know, however they would have had his origin in this. But
I've always liked how Booster is like, he has to earn everyone's trust because he was a thief. Like, he stole all of his stuff from the future, came to the past to try to make us a superhero, and then like people figured that out about him, but then like he ends up getting all this responsibility about protecting the multiverse and time, and like having to keep all that a secret from like everyone but Batman, basically, like trying to keep playing the role of the fool so that people don't realize that he's like the reason why the timeline stays intact, you know. So he's interesting character.
Control Z says Ben 10. I've never watched it, so I don't know.
I haven't either. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's our thoughts on Ben 10. Although I've seen from like the art that I think it's in like the same like Teen Titans art style, or at least very similar. So it might be worth checking out at some point.
Yeah, it's got a big following.
Thomas G, why do you guys think the Justice League changed so radically from being 60 plus members in Unlimited to 7 members in Batman Beyond, as well as the final fates of Hawkgirl, Jon Stewart, Wally West, and Martian Manhunter?
Well, without spoiling our plans for Legacies. Exactly. We'll have to keep it kind of high level. Well, I guess I'll do the first sentence. I think that there's probably a big event that happens that might kill off a bunch of members potentially, or something, or like they're just forced to split up into smaller fractions of the league just to like decentralize the power, which is kind of what they were talking about at the end of the Cadmus story arc anyway. And then you see by the last season of JLU, they have the new Metro Tower as well, so they're like down on Earth, and I would imagine that they might even have like a European office and like things scattered around the world like that.
Yeah, I think the producers kind of like shot themselves in the foot with like, like we want to just, you know, we don't know how much longer we're going to get to do this show, so let's just throw like everyone we can think of in there. And then like, at some point, most of them have to go away. I think it's probably likely something, I mean, we didn't know anything about Cadmus or, you know, anything that happened in JLU, Justice League, during Batman Beyond, like, there, you know, barely any of that's ever brought up.
Right.
So it's pretty, I'm sure there's just something, you know, they had to leave for political reasons, or some, you know, they all exploded or something. I feel like if most superheroes on Earth died all at once in something that in Batman Beyond, someone would have been like, hey, maybe don't like be a superhero. Or so, like, I don't know, like if there was some kind of like computer program that like Winter Soldier style, like sought out every superhero and just shot them out of the sky or something.
Well,
But,
the rest of those members, Hawkgirl, Jon Stewart, Wally, and Martian Manhunter, have all been in the Batman Beyond like 2.0 comics. Also, like so
in
we
the
kind of
future though, have they shown up in like that time period or just flashbacks?
not Hawkgirl and Jon Stewart. Hawkgirl and
Okay.
Jon Stewart had that whole special issue of Justice League Beyond 2.0 where they. It shows like Vixen is
Warhawks.
murdered by a shadow thief,
Yeah.
and so Jon Stewart's grieving, and he and Hawkgirl kind of have a life together. Yeah, and Hawkman, like this is the weird part of that issue is like Carter Paul Hawkman went to Thanagar, and like helped them like.
Yeah, he has nothing to do with Thanagar in the show.
At least not in the DCAU. But yeah, they put that in that.
We talked about this in our Is Hawkman Warhawk's Dad video from
That's
3
right.
years ago.
yeah. But yeah, at night you see Hawkgirl and Jon Stewart just kind of like get together and have that kid, and
isn't Wally in Danica's head like Firestorm or something like that?
Yeah, and so is Jay Garrick in Impulse. That's part of like what informed my answer earlier when I was just like maybe Impulse too. I don't know. Yeah, they're all just like floating flash head ghosts that talk to her. Yeah. And then Martian Manhunter was in the Superman Beyond book in the future.
Oh, okay.
So you see
right.
him in Starfire. Yeah.
I like I mean, yeah, without giving too much away, there is a lot of stuff that like we had planned for our comic that got kind of overstepped by the Beyond 2.0 stuff as it was coming out, like because we had already planned a bunch of stuff. So like some of that,
we don't want to retread their territory either. But yeah. I mean, I personally think like Martian Manhunter, like he leaves the League in the last season, but then he comes back in Destroyer, and we see that he's been like living in China and he's got a wife and just living that happy civilian life.
Yeah,
so,
he doesn't. He doesn't come back and say like, "Oh, it's me. I'm here to stay." Like he's there to help with that one thing, and now I gotta go back home now or whatever.
Exactly.
So, but
we've got plans for him in Legacies to kind of like show that, kind of how what he does. I know. We'll show the things.
Hard, maybe. Maybe if we ever like made the comic, then you would know. But
you'll see.
Working on it. Tyler's. Oh, he told me.
I like Mark's question. Let's do Mark Granick. Heroes teams you wish were in the DCAU.
Okay.
The Outsiders. That's one.
The end. No. The Titans.
Yeah. The Justice Society. I'd like to see more of them. Checkmate. Yeah. That's why I put them in the Legacies comic. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Checkmate.
Maybe like Doom Patrol would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
I would have liked to see the Justice League split into different Justice Leagues at some point. Like maybe if they did another season, they would have done that or something. Like a Detroit or not. No, sorry, that's the wrong. Like a international or like a Europe, whatever. So it's more like worldwide. Not. I mean, it is, I guess, already, but.
Like different outposts, different places. Justice League China, that's something in the comics right now.
There's not a lot of like villainous teams that didn't show up.
The Brotherhood of Evil, that's a big Doom Patrol villain team.
Hive.
yeah, and I guess they called themselves on the Titans cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever you say Brotherhood, I always just think of Magneto and other movies. So.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Tyler Saez. He told me how to say this before. I think I said it right. Saez. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Sounds right. That's okay.
Why did Nightwing never appear in Batman Beyond? And why do you think Bruce Timm and company decided to have Barbara marry Sam Young instead of Dick Grayson like he should have? Personally, I'm starting to think that Bruce Timm actually doesn't like the character of Dick Grayson. He appears as Nightwing only a few times, TNBA even for its short run. Well, there was a good chunk of my childhood that like Dick Grayson and Batgirl was like, that's the thing. That's what's supposed to happen, like in my head. But I think that's only because of Sub-Zero, really. Like Like, there's not really any other. I mean, they're kind of like flirty a little bit in their couple appearances together in the cartoon, but they're not. There's never like a we're dating until Sub-Zero, and then after Sub-Zero, they're not dating anymore. Or like they are in like Old Wounds, or I guess, but then when he leaves, then that's it. Like they're dating for like a month or something. I guess maybe like 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know. I never felt like Barbara and Dick had to get together. Like, even in the comics, Dick Grayson's like, she's not his only girlfriend, and then he's not her only boyfriend. Like, Barbara Gordon and Ted Kord the Blue Beetle were together for a while. Nightwing and Starfire, that's almost like, I'd say he might belong with her more than Barbara. Like, even in Kingdom Come, they have a daughter together called Darkfire, who's the son of Nightwing and Starfire, or daughter.
Which I guess that pairing is most likely not a thing in this universe. I guess. Like she exists, but there's not really any time period where, unless it's as soon as he goes to Bloodhaven or something, they hook up. But that would be like the meeting for the first time, probably. I don't know.
It's probably after Batman and Harley Quinn, where he saw the impersonator and that.
I gotta go find the real one. Oh my god,
this orange chick with the wow.
He just starts dating the waitress herself. I never had a problem with Barbara marrying Sam Young. Sam Young's an original character, isn't he? Like he's not.
Yeah, to the DCAU, to Batman Beyond.
Because all of Batman Beyond is a very like, it's not a what if like it is the future of this universe, but it's a what if future in terms of like all possible DC futures that have been explored. Like it's not written in stone in like any other version of the characters, I guess. So it's never bothered me that like, who is this guy Sam Young? Like this isn't Bruce Wayne or whatever. So.
I like Sam Young. I think it's cool that Barbara got a happy ending with just a normal guy.
They should have called him Sam Old.
By Batman Beyond time. But we see him young in the 2.0 comics.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We talked Maximus GTA 200. We already talked about Crisis on Two Earths. So there you go. You kind of also got your thing answered.
Yeah. Black Vulcan versus Black Lightning.
Where is this?
Versus Static Shock by Ultimate Lich King 616. I'm adding Static Shock in there because I think he belongs in that fight. A three-way between Black Vulcan, Black Lightning,
versus
and Static.
Livewire versus.
Yeah, gonna have a shocking battle.
I think Black Lightning definitely wins versus Black Vulcan because Black Vulcan sucks.
Black Vulcan doesn't wear pants, and that's just awkward.
Yeah, you just aim right for the thighs. You got him.
Yeah. Black Lightning, I mean, I think he would definitely beat Static because Black Lightning's just more experienced with his powers.
Yeah. I think they both probably beat. Yeah. I don't know. Black Vulcan is just such a boring version of Black Lightning. That, like, he's just there for money reasons. Like, there's no, I don't know.
Yeah, he would not win. I don't know for any reason why.
The couple times that I've rewatched Static Shock, there's so many weird physics laws to what is electricity in that show. Like when he's like, "Oh, I'm out of power," he could just like grab a battery and now I have power. But also like Green Lantern's ring is also like able to be fueled by Static's electricity. So is his electricity not like real electricity? Is it like bang baby gas like some weird element that doesn't really exist or something?
No, I'll give Black Vulcan this. Like there is an obscure DC Comics character called Son of Vulcan who used to be like published by Charlton Comics, and then DC acquired them. And they've like done it like different versions of that of the Son of Vulcan ever since. But if Black Vulcan is somehow related to that guy, he's kind of like a Hercules type, like a demigod.
He's probably not.
Yeah, I mean, but if he was, then he'd have like a way higher of a power level than the others.
Well, I guess this is what I'm saying with the static electricity thing, though, is like not let's not have static in this, but if it's just Vulcan v Lightning, Dawn of Electricity, then there's like the possibility that like hear me out. Black Lightning is in Crisis on Two Earths, the movie. He's one of the like oh, we got a bunch of people that we're gonna have asked to be in the Justice League. Let's teleport them up here to help us. And like Aquaman, look out, they're stronger than you or something. That's my favorite line in the movie. And then Black Lightning's also there, so it gives slight precedence to Black Lightning existing in the DCAU.
That's true.
In which case, maybe
and he's in the JLU
also,
comics too.
Yeah. In which case, perhaps his lightning is also not really real electricity. Like it can bend the rules a little more. Like it can be powered by other things, or it can power up or other things or whatever. And
we gotta throw in Juice from the Ultiman.
Yeah, god damn.
And then the guy from Static Shock. He was the guy from the '60s. He was the what's his name?
Soul Power.
And he looks like Black Lightning
many.
from the '60s. So, and
Let's
you know the battle arena should be in a carpet store.
So they don't even have to. I lost my powers. Just shuffle your feet real fast, kid. They can. They all throw lightning at each other at the same time. It all hits in the center, and it all explodes, and they all die. So that's the answer.
That's it. That was fun.
Tyler again. Why did we never get an episode of TNBA where Batman, Nightwing, Batgirl all fought together? He makes a good point that they all appear in a couple episodes out of costume, but they're never on screen together in costume. And I agree with that. That I think that's really dumb. I wish that could have ever happened.
It should have culminated in a big epic JLU season 4 where it's like all the villains are together, all the heroes are together.
Yeah.
Throw all your action figures in a pile.
We got well, I was about to say we did it in Legacies, but we didn't even have Batman in that scene, so technically it's still it's still not true. I don't know if they ever were all. They're probably all in the same comic issue at some point, like a Gotham Adventures or something. But I don't know.
They were no doubt.
Another
Black Vulcan question.
Yeah,
it was the same guy. Same guy.
It is.
Said it. Ultimate
Okay.
Lich King 616. We got you.
There's a couple people that have asked this same question. Did we? This is SG Anime 96. Did we ever talk about the end of JLU? What exactly happened to Lex? I kind of want to make a video about this, even though it's a very simple answer, but it could be stretched into different possibilities.
Yeah.
The other comics, the Batman Beyond, Superman Beyond comics have like a Lex that's in a computer and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, and then they have. Are you talking about the Superman Batman Annual #4? I think it was like.
That's what. Yeah,
that was like one of the first times Batman Beyond came back in the mainstream comics, like right before they gave him his Hush series.
Yeah. And Darkseid's also in Justice League Beyond, I think.
He's
blind or whatever. Yeah. So I'll I'm skipping that. Sorry.
We'll come back to it. Though we'll do a full video.
Yeah. Which superhero wasn't in JLU deserved to be on the team? This is Adjacent Films 22. Cough, Nightwing, cough. Sorry, I have a cold. Deserved in terms of like.
I'd say Blue Beetle. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle.
Yeah, okay.
Probably deserved to be on the team. Maybe Firestorm.
I'm just wondering if deserved means like they were already in a different show as a main character, like they should have been on there or something. Because like Supergirl made it on, but not Nightwing, so I agree. But
Nightwing's even led the league before in the comic books, like during the Obsidian Age storyline by Joe Kelly. Yeah,
this
Nightwing.
is why you're on the podcast.
I know. So Nightwing was the team leader for a minute. Yeah. Let's do Switzerland's question. Who is Starfire in the DCAU? And are there other colors of the emotional spectrum in the DCAU? It's 3 above.
Oh, not Starfire, Star Sapphire.
Oh, that's what I thought I said. That's what I meant to say, Star Sapphire. So she's got a British accent in her appearances in Justice League.
I think there's one official thing. I don't remember what it is, but there's some biography or website from Cartoon Network days of old.
Does it call her Carol Ferris?
That has her listed as Carol Ferris, but it's not. Like that it seems unlikely because Hal Jordan's not like a big deal in this or whatever, and she's British. We never see her with her mask off, and she has black hair, but like that's really the only like similarity, I guess. Has there been like a British? It's hard to tell because
there's been other Star Sapphires in the comics, like they have their own sort of Lantern Corps after a while.
You can't read a comic like know what accent they're speaking in. So maybe Carol Ferris has always been British.
Well, there's I mean, they had a whole like planet of them. There's one Queen Agapo who was like also in the Silver Age, or actually no, she was the one of the like the sapphires come from this like planet called Zamaron where they get their purple energy, and so I know that there was a star sapphire that was in the Silver Age that wasn't Carol Ferris.
It's made it difficult to try to write a biography for her for the website, because for the Watchtower Database website coming the coming sometime between now and never, there's because like researching the character, the it's something about like the when the Guardians a long time ago, the Guardians like split into like male and female. The male ones stayed doing Green Lantern stuff, and the female ones went and did Star Sapphire stuff because they were angry or something. And I'm probably getting this wrong, but we see female Guardians in the Superman episode, at least one of them. They're all guys by Justice League, at least the ones that we see. So it's like a confusing, like, is that actually happen in this universe? Because obviously there's a Star Sapphire, at least there's one of them. Is there a whole core of them? Is there, what is happening?
It's hard to say. And just because, we don't have any evidence of Hal Jordan at all, except for him being a fighter pilot, potentially.
He's talking about the emotional spectrum thing. Because like Sinestro has a yellow ring with yellow energy, Star Sapphire has her gem with purple energy, and the Green Lanterns, like those are the ones that we see. But when these shows were being made, they hadn't really like dove into that kind of thing in the comics, like in the way that it is now.
And
like
all of them are in the Green Lantern, the animated series that was produced by Bruce Timm, but that is not really, it's not the DCAU. There are aspects of it that are like, that's kind of looks similar. Like the Thanagarians look really similar to how they looked in Star-Crossed, but like we'll be doing a Willa Cannon exploration on that in more detail. But you do see the Blue Lanterns, Red Lanterns. You see Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern. They're all in that. Yeah. So,
but like I guess this is I've had like a video idea on my phone listed for a while for the channel, but I don't know if it's enough to make a whole video out of. But it's like Sinestro is not really utilized as heavily as he could be in the DCAU. Like he's kind of just he feels he's supposed. He feels, because of his comic version, he feels like he's supposed to be like at the same level as like like a Darkseid or a Brainiac or something like that. But then in the shows, he's just like
he's always a henchman, sort of.
Yeah,
like
he's
the Legion
on
of Doom.
He's in the Secret Society. He's in the Legion of Doom. He's just like hanging around. He's just as much of a threat as like Evil Star or Puzzler or something. So it's like, what, they didn't get. Did they not give him enough credit? And the same with Star Sapphire, or like, but is it just the same as because at the time they hadn't really like made that a huge deal in the comics,
right?
They were just random Green Lantern villains. So.
And then he has that history on Super Friends where he's also part of that team, and Well, moving on.
Okay. I'm gonna skip Justice Lords coming into power because we might do a video. What happened? This is A-Bomb Twin. What happened to Bruce and Selena at the end of season 1? Justin Unlimited. Terry says that Selena, Dick, Barbara all loved you. How does he know about Bruce and Selena's relationship? Is Terry their kid and Amanda just lied to Terry to withhold the truth? Also, since it never happened on screen, but if Starfire does exist in this universe, her and Nightwing get married, oh my god, this is quite the question. I'm just saying this because Barbara says Dick left to become his own hero. What if him and Corey were married and were their own crime fighting duo in Bloodhaven? Okay, so this is a big old fan theory.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I think Selena would go on. Like, there was actually plans for a direct-to-DVD like another Batman Beyond movie that would have been like a follow-up to Return of the Joker about Selina training a new Catwoman. And instead, I think that sort of got folded into epilogue, like bits of that. And it would have probably gone into Terry being a genetic
the blob.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's keep epilogue a secret.
No one knows. Keep specifically that episode a secret and nothing else. Is it? Yeah, I don't think any of. I mean, this is one of those. No offense to the asker, but this is one of those questions that's like I have no idea. Like we have no way of knowing. But I think they kind of just want to maybe hear our thoughts on the possibilities.
Watch the the new League members video that we just put out recently, and you see Catwoman was almost a Justice League member.
Yeah, it's canon now. All right. We talked about that.
Yeah, the core.
We talked about that.
Alex Bolt and Kwame Adu,
that seems to be a
007,
pretty,
both asked the same questions. What happened to the members of the League after JLU?
Yeah, well, we talked about that before. That seems to be like a thing that people want to hear about, I guess.
To do a more in-depth video about that, maybe.
Video, yeah. Okay, Isa C. I think this is one of our newest patrons, so thank you. Each of you come up with fantasy backup leagues, sort of a collection of 7 heroes that are not officially a part of the league that would step into the role of Earth's protectors if something were to happen to the 70-ish characters for a short period of time, DCAU canon characters or not.
Interesting.
Okay. So like all the Justice League goes missing or something, and they have 7 people have to come together to make a new Justice League.
Well, I guess we'll draft, like, you want to treat this like a dodgeball game, like you pick one, I'll pick one until we both have 7.
Okay, you can go first.
All right, well, I would take Nightwing because I said it earlier. He's my leader. He's led the team before doing the Obsidian Age thing. He's gonna be my leader.
I'll take Batgirl because she can oracle her way through the leadership role.
That's a good point. Well, then I'm gonna take Starfire because you know the two of them are hooking up in Bloodhaven.
Why did I let you go first?
They're hooking up in Bloodhaven as a crime fighting duo. So,
I'm trying to think of superheroes. Okay, I'll take Static.
Ooh, nice. That's good. I'll take Plastic Man. We don't need too stretchy guys.
He's already in the Justice League. You can't do that.
Barely. Okay, all right. Can I take Hawkman? Do we decide if Hawkman's an official member?
Yeah, you can have.
All right, I got Hawkman. All right, I'm at 3.
So I've got Oracle, Static. Jeez, I have to do 4 more. or 5 more. Could I just say Gear?
Yeah, you can
I'll take Gear.
That's fair. Totally valid.
Keep thinking of Static characters.
I am gonna do Alan Scott Green Lantern. I'll pull him out of retirement because we need a heavy hitter on this team.
So if I've got, let's see, Oracle's kind of doing the leadership thing. Static's like a heavy hitter. Gear's like the Batman thinking guy.
And she could be, or Gear can be Oracle's little protege.
Yeah. No, I just thought, Catwoman. I'll do Catwoman.
Oh, nice.
I don't think we can. We're not gonna count her as technically on the league, but I feel like if Batman like disappeared, that would be enough for her to be like, oh, maybe I should help you.
Nice. Well, then in that case, I'm gonna take Harley Quinn because she is on her way to being a hero. You know, in a way, and
then she falls into a pit.
Yeah, so this is.
I guess we're setting this. Yeah, we're setting this post JLU pre ROTJ.
So I guess you could potentially have Robin if you wanted him.
I was trying to not pick Robin just because he's.
I've already got Nightwing. You got Batgirl.
Obvious.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take Robin because I still have 2 more spots to fill after this.
So you did take Robin?
Yeah, I got Oracle, Static, Gear, Catwoman, and Robin.
All right, and I got Nightwing, Hawkman, Alan Scott. I forgot one. Oh, Starfire, and Harley Quinn, and I got 2 more. I'm gonna do Manhunter. I really like Manhunter, the Kate Spencer version. She's pretty cool. She was like a Gotham City DA by daylight, and then at night she would go beat up the criminals who got loose because of the corrupt justice system. So
I believe you.
She's fun. She's got like a costume that's mixed of like a bunch of different characters. So she has like a Dark Star uniform, which is kind of like a Green Lantern Corps sort of thing. Jon Stewart and Donna Troy were both Dark Stars for a minute, and she also has Azrael Batman's gauntlets. So that's kind of cool. It's my number 6.
I was trying to think of. We don't know if Power Girl. We don't know anything about Power Girl. Like, we don't know anything if she's on the Justice League. Like, if she's Galatea turned good. If she's a completely new person. I'm not gonna go with that. Then I'll do.
You could.
I don't want to. That seems
fair.
weird. I'll do. I'll be tongue in cheek and I'll do Peacemaker.
Oh, nice.
He's not. See Legacies number
3
2 through 4.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Then my last one is I don't know, man. Who's John Constantine? We need a magical person. I got Alan Scott, but
Yeah.
I need
I'm gonna discount Swamp Thing's cameo in Initiation and say Swamp Thing for
Oh, nice. Oh, that's a good choice. Well, then that's great because my John Constantine being on my team can take down Swamp Thing on your team. So.
That's true. Are we battling now? Are we?
No, I think we are
against each other. Yeah.
All right, so I got Nightwing, I got Nightwing, Starfire, Hawkman, Alan Scott, Manhunter, Harley Quinn, and John Constantine. That's my team.
And I have Batgirl, Static Gear, Catwoman. Oh God, what did I say? I know Swamp Thing was one of them. Peacemaker and what was my other one?
Who's your last one?
What the heck? What was it? Robin.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yep, barely. Okay, well, cool. That was fun.
He's such a little kid still, all the time.
Thanks, Isa.
Yeah, we should have like a Yu-Gi-Oh battle now with these.
Yeah.
Guys. Let's see.
Tyler Johnson asked why we're so into the DCAU rather than the comics.
I was trying. I know a guy named Tyler Johnston in real life, and I'm trying to figure out if this is him, but I don't think it is.
I know a Ty Johnson I went to high school with, and he was a dig.
Yeah, why are you guys so into the DCAU rather than the DC Comics universe? What kind of question is that? Well, I don't know why, because I like it.
I'm into the comics universe just as much.
Yeah.
I think the DCAU is like the kind of like perfectly distilled version of the DC Comics world, but I mean, I read a lot of the comics.
There's nothing against the DCAU, but it feels like a very random part of the DC mythos to center a channel around. I disagree.
I think niche channels, like that's how you make it on YouTube. You gotta have your specific stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll branch out a little eventually. For now, we're doing fine. And then also, like, I disagree that it is a very random part of the DC mythos. Like, for me, it is like the biggest part of the DC mythos.
It's pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't speak for everybody, but I mean, that's how I've learned who any of these characters are and anything about them and whatever. So
introduce a whole generation.
Screw off. Let's see. Only a few left to go through. Oh no, wait. There's a lot more actually.
Yeah, we gotta be a little more picky.
Yeah. Let's see. Where did I stop? Okay, Tyler Johnston.
What about the canceled Lobo, the animated series, or how it like got turned into a web series instead?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that might be a full video.
Okay. Well, will it canon sort of thing?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. People are asking about Arkham series. SM Saba Hussein. Which direction do you think the DCEU should take now that they've unsuccessfully made a Justice League movie and a panned Batman/Superman movie, 2 films which should have been the biggest releases ever? I agree they should have been done a lot better than they did. I think they just they tried to do their own thing, and I respect them for it. It just didn't resonate as well with people because that's not what they wanted to see, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I think.
Well, I'm excited that they're kind of putting the focus back on character, like doing the Shazam movie looks really just sort of like individual, you know, like it's not gonna
Yeah.
tie into the grand scheme of other stuff. Wonder Woman 84 looks that way too, and Aquaman.
Yeah.
And that's all great.
A lot of people say they should just stop doing what they're doing and start over. I think that it's fine to keep going in this universe.
Well, you know they are with the Flashpoint movie that we're getting. That's like the next one.
But we don't.
It's like
we
all
don't know
the
for
Justice
sure
League members are
what
back.
is actually happening in that. Like we don't know if it's going to reset it or whatever. But like if
I'm just saying it's like the next installment where Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, and Ezra Miller, like all those versions of the characters are all back in the same movie.
If they do that, okay. But if they don't, reset it, I'm fine with them continuing in this universe as long as they like keep improving on it. Because honestly, like I do like the first Iron Man movie, but if I I know that the first handful of those pre-first Avengers exist, but if I'm gonna go like watch my favorites or something, or like watch ones that are important or something, like I don't usually watch, Thor, Captain America, or whatever. Sure. And they're not bad movies necessarily, but they're just like, I don't know, unnecessary in my head, I guess. So then whenever if someone wanted to do like a full watch of these movies, they'll just have to understand that they got to get through a couple that might be more boring to them or something than the other ones. I don't know.
Right.
Because really it's just Man of Steel and Batman v Superman that stick in that Zack Snyder art style. Like I should say, it's basically an art style. After that,
undersaturated aesthetic.
Yeah. But like after that, they start realizing like, oh, we need to change things. Like with, I guess Suicide Squad counts in that, but it's not the same exact thing. It's a different kind of weird and boring. Anyway, I don't know. I think they should just keep doing what they're doing, and it'll just get better. Because if they just started over, people would have a problem with whatever the new thing is, and they would just keep doing it over and over again instead of just believing in themselves, I guess.
Right.
Moving on. Godzilla 00X. Who else was likely to know what happened to Tim Drake? What wider impacts did it have on Batman's relationship with characters outside the Bat family? Probably the Titans would have been affected, I would assume.
We see in the Return of the Joker, the undercut version, when Batgirl's talking to prostitutes about who might have leads, one of them looks suspiciously like Black Canary.
Yeah.
So,
which I've mentioned a few times to people that point that out. That's all like that's just a different character. Then they reuse that same design later. But who knows if maybe we'll be doing a different thing.
Who knows?
The Justice League cartoons versus DCEU, that could be a whole episode probably.
I mentioned Ronald McHeartattacks. He asked about Lobo, the animated series.
Yeah, Ronald. I didn't even see the name. Missed opportunities could be a whole video.
This is from Bat Freeze.
Yeah. God damn it, Mark. Every Star Wars reference in the DCAU. Nice. I don't think that there are any.
There's a few.
Okay, that's not true.
There's a Batman Beyond episode. I'm sure Joker says some lines.
Of the Last Cosmos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's Luke Skywalker references with Mark Hamill at some point.
What about Scupple? Yeah. Jim Gordon, his whole deal. What's his deal? What's the deal with Jim Gordon?
What's the deal with his little hair floopy?
Yeah.
It's like
what's the deal with his weight loss?
Left, it points left, and when he faces to the right, it points right. But that doesn't make any sense. Is it pointing straight up like a unicorn horn in the front of his head?
What's his deal, man?
I mean, one time he had red hair, and then he got older and he didn't have red hair anymore.
Yeah.
And like he wears a coat sometimes, but he doesn't wear a coat when he sits in a diner to eat coffee.
And he got really old really fast between those 2 years, between the animated series and the new Batman Adventures.
Yeah, he had liposuction or something. I don't know.
He's like getting so much weight loss. Someone needs to get him some marijuana or something.
Yeah, that's where we should be taking this conversation.
Jim Gordon, from cop to pothead.
Every kid EST. Every mistake, please. Okay.
Harley Quinn had double butts in the movie.
Sure did. That was quite the mistake.
Yep.
The whole entire Batman Harley Quinn movie was a mistake. it's not canon. And I refuse to believe it's canon.
Making Worlds Collide into Crisis on Two Earths, making it like weirdly not canon was a mistake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I know Teen Titans is not in the DCU, but can you please do a Teen Titans video? Fading Shadow 165. Yes, we are going to do that. I have a video idea. I've been getting video ideas for specifically like videos to do with the Teen Titans series as I rewatch it, because even though it's not in the DCAU, it came out during the same time, and a lot of people hold it as dear in their hearts. So we might do some at some point. I have a couple like fan theories that I've been coming up with as I'm watching it, and I want to wait till the end of the show to look up to see if I'm the only person that's thought of them. Anyway, Incredibles 3.
I haven't even seen Incredibles 2 yet. I need to.
It wasn't as good as the first one. That's all I gotta say. Scorn Rorschach 6. Well, Scorn Rorschach 6 has like 4 questions. One last timeline video, everything from 1992 to 2018.
Wow.
We're going to do plenty more timeline videos. We just did a bunch of it at one time, and it was getting a little stale.
More coming.
Viewership.
When did Christian V has a good question. When Superman started being a hero in Batman's timeline, like what?
I know the answer.
Yeah, what's the answer?
Let me find it.
Between which episodes would that be?
I'm gonna look. This is my like timeliney thing. Maddie and I split up shows to watch and take notes on, and I took Superman a year ago. So this is using math from the Superman Adventures comics and the cartoon. And we're using our 12th level intellect knowledge of the shows to understand to determine whether the comic is canon or not. There are quite a few issues that work just fine and help explain things. So if there's any information from them that we can use and nothing from that issue like contradicts anything else, like we're going to use it. Like for instance, in Superman Adventures number 3, Superman said, "My father sent me here 27 years ago." And that takes place, it appears to take place right after Stolen Memories, which is the first Brainiac episode. So stuff like that we can use to nail it down. Right now we have Superman premiering in Metropolis in late 1996 to early 1997. And the previous Batman thing is Sub-Zero, which ends at September 1996 at the latest.
So you can kind of say that like all the Batman the Animated Series stuff happened before Superman appeared at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then quite like a couple years of Superman stuff happens during the Lost Years.
So by the time they're back with the new animated style, Superman's firmly in the world.
Yeah, like when they first meet in World's Finest, we're at where is this? We're at April to May 1999. Okay. And that's already, Supergirl's come to Earth. He's fought Jaxer and Mala like 3 different times. Like a lot of the series has already happened. So anyway,
nice. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of if you ever like, oh, how do I chronologically watch Batman and Superman at the same time? Like you can watch like the entirety of Batman the Animated Series before you start Superman, and then once you get to World's Finest, then they start mixing. But there's some Batman stuff that happens before World's Finest also. So, and New Batman Adventures. Anyway, that's my nerdy answer to that. Is Krypto the Superdog in the DCAU? Probably not.
Even though the Superman that appears in that does look suspiciously
he
like
does
the
look
animated
a lot
series.
like him, yeah. I started watching that show and taking notes because I wanted to have like an official answer. And you should pick another one while I look that up because I started taking notes.
The next one, Peter Bolton says that Bruce Timm planned to turn Dana Tan into 10 in season 3 of Batman Beyond. And I didn't know
I read
that.
that, and I did not know that either. Yeah, he says it's on the
interesting.
complete series behind the scenes, and I wonder if that's like a new behind the scenes that not on the other ones. Because I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I can't talk about it, but like that would have been pretty cool to see, I guess. And then maybe like Melanie Walker becomes more of a hero or something. But I know
I just wonder like what would have led. I guess maybe I would have liked to see that just because Dana barely does anything except be like a damsel in distress.
Yeah, Adam Beecham kind of gives her a cool story arc during the 2.0 stuff, like with the King Joker being her brother, and then like taking over all the Joker's gangs in Gotham. So
I'm looking at my crypto notes. Under non-canon, I've listed Krypton rocket looks much different than the one in the STAS. This turns out to be a different rocket, one that takes Crypto to Earth specifically, but there are no signs of Jor-El testing the rocket in STAS, and Crypto was present as a puppy as the planet was going to explode. Crypto can speak English, which for Earth animals would seem impossible, but he is from another planet. It's revealed he has an intergalactic communicator on his tags. Other animals talk when he gets to Earth, but perhaps this is just from Crypto's point of view. Streaky is owned by Andrea Sussman rather than Supergirl, though it could theoretically be a different Streaky. The design of Metropolis is rather different and less futuristic than STAS. So far in the 2 episodes that I've watched, actually I guess it's only 1 episode because they're like 11-minute things. I mean, the different art style and the like tone of the show is very different, but there's not been anything that's like, oh, that's definitely bad.
Well, you know, in the DCAU, there is a Crypto that he got from, wasn't it from like the collectors? Like,
yeah.
All the zoo. There's like a weird little alien creature with like sharp teeth that he names Crypto or something.
Yeah, he's not the collector. That's Marvel. Preserver.
The Preserver. There you go. Yeah.
Also,
like we talked to earlier, like Scooby-Doo is kind of canon, not canon to the DCU, but like, you know, like Scooby-Doo's might be in the DCU just because of how often he interacts. Like he's a Warner Brothers property and crosses over with a lot of that.
He
so
can talk. Yeah.
And he can talk, and like we have Detective Chimp who can talk. There are plenty of dogs in the DCU who can talk, and that's you know not
Ted's pulling for Crypto to be canon.
I would love to see Scooby-Doo be like more integrated into the DCU.
Like, I mean, eventually I'll come up against an episode where we see Lex Luthor and Crypto, and Lex Luthor is like a weird green monster in that show.
Man, I guess I'll say this. I've always wanted to pitch DC. I've never had the chance, but like for a Teen Titans run or something, and include Garth from the Iron Giant to be a member of the team, and then like be able to call on the Iron Giant whenever he needs help. Like I would love to see him in the Teen Titans. I think he'd be a natural. Hogarth, that's it. Hogarth. Garth is Aqualad.
Hogarth. Yeah.
We could have Garth and Hogarth hanging out, and then Garfield Logan, who goes by Gar.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Garth, and Hogarth.
They can form their own team.
The Gar team.
I like just calling them Garth and Hogarth. It's like naming your children.
If you're listening, DC, I got a pitch for you. Garth and Hogarth.
Naming your children Andrew, and Drew.
Yeah. Or Ed, Nettie.
Yeah. I stole that from my friend Scott, in case he's listening.
Nice.
Lorenzo Kirkpatrick. Should Bruce Timm and his team take over any next live-action Justice League film, or at least contribute to the script? I think they should have been the overseers of BVS and jail movies. I think it's fine that it's different. I like it that it's different. Don't let the same people do everything.
Yeah. And I'd rather see Paul Dini in the scripts.
Well, and his team, he says. I think it would be cool, but I think that we might, like we put rose-colored glasses on the DCAU.
Right.
Also, like it's good, like objectively, I think, but it's not like. It might not translate as well to live action because you can suspend your like fantastical disbelief with a cartoon a lot more than you can with.
Bruce Timm is like a master storyteller for sure.
Yeah.
But like I really think part of what made the DCAU so special is his art style that he brought to it.
Right.
And that wouldn't you can't bring that into the movies, you know.
Just do a CGI Bruce. Oh wait, that's Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And last question, Emo Otaku, how to get into comic-wa?
Comics. The W and S are very similar, or very close together on the keyboard.
It sure is.
How did you get into comics? Or you want me to? Okay.
Well, how did I get into comics?
Yeah.
I watched all these shows, and then my friend Ted was like, "You should read comics."
Yeah,
So
but then I kind of walked you through it though. I was like, well, here's like I guess it's
very difficult.
Yeah,
to find where to start.
I got into comics because I just started reading the Justice League book when I was a kid. Like, just picked it off the shelves and started reading it monthly. And I really think that's the trick. I think it's like if you have a character you like, just go out, buy the latest issue of that book, or like find like maybe a recent collection that like starts you on the latest run of the character.
It's very easy to pick something up and be like, oh, I don't know what's happening. I got to read the thing that comes before this, and then keep going backward from there into infinity, which is some sort of what I've been doing. But I want that for completionist's sake. I'm not doing it to stress myself out so much.
There are starting points, though. It's not like you have to go back forever. Like for me, I started reading JLA comics in the late 90s, early 2000s. So for me, like the starting point was Grant Morrison's JLA #1. Which is like 96 maybe. And so I like started reading it around issue 50 something, but then I went back and started #1 and caught back up to where I was. And then from there, I just kept reading it.
You can just read whatever you want. And then if there's something that you don't understand that you really want to understand, then go find the thing that they're talking about. Like, usually they'll be like, oh, see so-and-so number whatever.
That's what I would do. Like originally, you know, like the DC universe, like there's all these milestone events that are so important, and it's pretty clear, like these character defining moments, like the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, 0 Hour. Like you have all these things that happen, and characters might reference these events, and so you go back. Like Cosmic Odyssey is like such a character defining point for Jon Stewart. So you like see these hints of past stories, and usually if they bring them up, they'll try to like give you as much information as you need to know about it in the book you're reading. But sometimes it is great to go back and to actually experience that story and have that.
So
context.
we have two roads we can take here. One is segue from this into comic relief, or the other is you don't have time for comic relief and you have to leave now.
Oh, I can do comic relief.
Okay,
it's all good. Let's do it.
You have to tell me what you read, because I read nothing. I've been reading my book club book, but that's not a comic book.
I'll keep it short because I probably do need to run in a second, but I'll do a fast one. So I did read 3 though. I'll still name drop 3 comics I read last week. One of them, a new book, Lex Luthor and Porky Pig, Looney Tunes crossover. It was pretty funny. Lex Luthor is like launching his new social media.
Is this a new series of them? Because they did one like a year ago. Okay.
Yeah, this is like a new run. I also got Joker and Daffy Duck, but I haven't read that yet. But Porky and Lex Luthor was pretty funny. Porky Pig gets hired to be like the head of Lex's social media company, and Lex is really just trying to steal people's passwords. He's like, I don't care about social media, whatever. It's the passwords people put in, because people use the same password for everything. So he gets their password data, and then Porky ends up.
Porky Pig's password like just slamming on a keyboard?
I don't think they ever show his password. Yeah, but his dialogue is really funny because they definitely do the in the mid sentence, and he's always like, he struggles through a sentence and just says something totally different.
Completely different.
So that happens throughout it, and there's a pretty funny part where he's like trying to get to the bottom of like who's stealing the sandwiches from the break room fridge, like he and the rest of the employees. So he sets up like this alarm that like triggers every time you open the fridge, and it gets really annoying for all of his employees, and ultimately realizes that Lex Luthor is the one stealing sandwiches from the fridge, and he can't do anything about it. So he ends up blaming like a migrant janitor, like very much a racist sort of like Porky Pig just fires this janitor guy and makes just a scene. He's like, he blames him for taking the sandwiches when everyone knows it was Luthor who did it.
That's the end of the comic?
No. That's like in the middle of it. The end is Porky ends up taking the fall for the company because like Lex puts the blame on Porky instead. And so Porky goes to jail, and he kind of deserves
mean
it.
Fella.
Yeah. So that was that one. It was pretty good. I recommend it. It was not as good as the Batman Elmer Fudd one that came out last year.
That was one that people
That one was amazing. Batman Elmer Fudd was so good.
I never got to read it, but I'll read it.
Yeah,
somehow.
You should check it out. I also started reading Plastic Man by Gail Simone. She's doing a 6-issue miniseries about Plastic Man. parentheses, Elo O'Brien, close parentheses. I guess it's not really the same thing. But yeah. So it's pretty good. It's like sort of like it's set in the modern day. He's just like Elo O'Brien gangster by day, Plastic Man by night, and just like a very noir sort of inspired gangster story. It's pretty funny and good. So I've enjoyed the first issue. I think the first like 3 or 4 are already out, so the series is almost over. But yeah, Gail Simone's awesome. She wrote Secret Six and Birds of Prey and stuff like that for a while. She's a really good writer. The last book I read was called Mage, and this book has been out for years. But I finally just like I got a cheap copy of the first issue and just read it for fun. It's written and drawn by Matt Wagner, who's the guy who did Batman and the Mad Monk. He did this Trinity book that came out like years ago that had like Ra's al Ghul and Bizarro and characters like that in it. He's a really good storyteller. He's known for like doing the Grindel series for Dark Horse. Yeah, Matt
like
Wagner is
Beowulf
awesome.
thing.
It's inspired by Beowulf, but it's like a violent superhero vigilante who just took his name from the monster Grindel.
Okay.
But yeah. So Mage was really cool. It was like this guy, just your typical Superman sort of person, like super strength figure, but he wears like a black T-shirt with like a Captain Marvel logo on it. And he just gets in like this weird situation. He's just on the streets of the city, and then these like trench coated, shadowy beings with white eyes just start following him. And there's some really cool action sequences. Like he just, I don't know, encounters just a bunch of weird characters throughout the day, and it seems like he's got these powers and destined for something greater. But I'm intrigued enough by this first issue, even though it came out like over 10 years ago. I'm probably going to go back and read the rest of the series, Mage. It looks really cool.
I guess I could say that I finished all the CW DC shows finally.
Oh, nice. I'm still
last season.
I still haven't watched the last seasons.
Yeah, it takes me so long to get through them because I'll just even
Is
if
it
I
a
get like
chore
a week
now?
behind.
Has it become a chore for you?
Yeah,
It's bad.
It's not that they're terrible, but once I have to like force myself to watch it to get done by the time like it's only going to be like a month till they start again, and I barely have time off from it. But there's like it's as soon as I miss a week, then I have to IMDb it and look up like which one am I on next and all this stuff.
I was talking to my friend Eric the other day, who was telling me that he was starting to date this girl, and she asked him this question when they first got together. She's like, "How do you feel about the show Arrow?" And he was like, "Oh crap! I don't watch Arrow, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch it all if I want to be with this girl, you know." And so he's like, "I like the character of Oliver Queen, I guess. Like Green Arrow is cool." And she's like, "Okay, well the show sucks, so I'm glad you don't like it." So he got off.
Yeah, why did you bring it up that way?
I know.
What do you think about Arrow?
Right.
Well, I'm glad that you don't like it. That was my first,
if you liked it, I
first
couldn't be with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
The very basics of it, I guess, is that I'm enjoying watching them, but obviously some are better than others. Like Legends is probably the worst of them all.
It's just cheesy.
I don't know, it's just not written as well, and it's like less interesting, and they do just a lot of whatever they want to. Like the time travel doesn't really have rules to it, so you can never like, oh, they're going to do this because they established in a previous episode that they could use this time travel thing. They're just going to do whatever they want. And Supergirl felt that very much that way this season too, because they would just be like, how do we defeat the bad guy? Well, remember when I never told you about the exact way we could beat the bad guy? Oh, that could work. Like they're just some like, I don't know, they'll make up something right then and there. And
Right.
It felt that way for all 4 of the shows kind of in a way this year. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I usually like the Flash the best, but
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the
yeah.
Flash had the most thought out thing probably. Like they knew where they were going with it, I think.
I am
but-
interested in the new season, so I might give Arrow another try starting in this season, and Batwoman.
They might be doing a kind of Galatea-ish thing for Supergirl, because like the last episode ends. I don't know if you care, but it it ends
You can
with
spoil it. Just keep the epilogue a secret.
Sure, yeah, that's the only thing that matters. The last episode ends with her, like, in order to defeat the bad guy, they have to use this weird like Kryptonian rock that's not kryptonite. It's like a different element, and it separates it like kills the bad guy essentially, but it also like venom symbiotes into the air and they don't notice it, and it like kind of drifts away into smoke, like a lost smoke monster into the sky. And then you don't see where it goes, but then you see some like military base in Russia or something, and like
they've
like
caught it.
What looks to be Supergirl, just like naked, wrapped in a blanket, like comes walking out of the forests. Like it's not actually her, but it just looks exactly like her. So like I don't know if that's gonna be some kind of like
it could be
Galatea-y kind of thing. Not in the story, but just like a clone that's evil, I guess, is my my only comparison.
Interesting.
That could be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna watch them again, I guess. But
well, don't make yourself.
well, I want to because Batwoman's gonna happen. That's probably why they did that. They knew I was getting bored. So.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm excited for it too. I'm definitely gonna check out the Batwoman show.
That's the show, everyone.
That's an episode.
Thank you for listening. This is out every other Monday. If you're a first-timer or a veteran listener, thank you very much. Please share this with your friends if you would. If you're like, hey, I have a friend who likes listening to a couple guys talk about nothing, then send them this, and boy, will they enjoy it.
What a great
thank
pitch.
you to Alan. Thank you to Alan Molden, for
Alan
the music.
Molden.
Garfield and or Garth and
Hogarth. It should be a law firm. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Musica-atomica.com. He does all the music for our stuff, the original music. We're on social media at DCAU Watchtower, or you can email us at info@watchtowerdatabase.com. And pretty soon our website will be a thing, and not the full one, but like a better one that's up there than that's up there right now. Video schedule: Sunday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. You got that?
I got it.
That's it. Subscribe. Thank you. Patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower. Go away now, Ted.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Bye.